Enjoying secrets of a sugar daddy? How about a little something extra? Here's today's dose of extra sugar with Marcus.
Hey, this is Marcus, and welcome to this segment of Extra Sugar. This is the last recording of the year, and we can't wait for the new year as we have so many great things planned. I have a bunch of episodes that I've recorded that are very special already. You're going to want to hear them in the next few weeks, and we've got more scheduled. But on Tuesday, we are releasing an episode with my sugar baby Alejandra. And just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, and this is also in our Patreon, a sneak peek of this episode, it's a BDSM situation gone wrong. She had met a guy through Seeking, and he invited her over to his place. Unbeknownst to her, what was about to happen is he gave her no idea that he had a special room, much like 50 Shades of Grey, except it didn't go very well. And he didn't really know what he was doing. He wasn't doing things correctly, and it could have really damaged somebody. So you're going to want to hear about that. She goes into depth on that, and it's pretty deep. So look for that episode on Tuesday. And then we've got parties that we are starting to plan for the next year. This one that we just got through with, I'm sure you've heard lots about it. We had it the Thanksgiving weekend. Went so well that everybody is excited to see what's in store next. And we learned a few things, and they're just going to be even bigger and better in the future. So look for those coming up. I will have information as those plans come into place on our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. Okay, for our last recording of the year, we are going to have a little fun, and everybody wants to hear the shocking stories of sugar dating. And I've shared quite a few of my shocking stories, and I'm probably going to repeat a few of those here, but I've got in front of me some really funny and not so funny stories, but I think you're going to enjoy these. So buckle up, let's go. All right, here's a sugar daddy. So he says he had a meet and greet lunch go well, and we decided to meet again later that evening. He got the "I'll be there in 5 minutes" text, then nothing, ghosted. Turns out she got pulled over for texting while driving and had warrants and some heroin on her, and she ended up in jail. And when she got out, she wanted to make it up to him. He ran away from that one. That kind of reminds me of one that I had early on in my sugar dating life, where I was going to go pick up a girl for lunch, and I was able to skip trace her because she did give me her real number. And I looked her up, and she had literally just got out of the Maricopa County Jail for meth. And I saw her mugshot, and she was not in a good place. And so I had to bail on that one before I got there. And then that's back when I used my real phone number, and she started blowing that up. And so I had to learn a very hard lesson that I didn't need to be giving out people my real number. And that's kind of where I started discovering secondary numbers. So that one could have been disastrous. Here's one. You ready for this? She looked good in her profile and interested on the phone, so we arranged to meet at a nice place on Ocean Avenue in Santa Monica. She was a little late, so I took the table and waited. It was pretty crowded, and she arrived just as I was ordering a glass of wine. Without saying hello, she ordered a double something, like martini on the rocks, I think. The waitress returned and handed her the drink. While she was handing me my wine, the potential sugar baby downed the entire double and loudly ordered another. This got us a bit of attention. She was reasonably good looking, well endowed, but 2 buttons short of being appropriate for the place. More folks were giving us glances. The menus arrived, and she ordered another double, which I think they anticipated as it arrived almost immediately. At this point, I picked up her unopened menu, put it in mine, and said in a quiet voice, "This is not going to work. Let's just finish our drinks and say goodbye." By now, more people are looking or trying to listen. She says, "Can we go to your place and fuck? I need the money." More ears and eyes. "No, that's not possible." A little louder. "Can I give you a blowjob in the parking lot?" The walk to the door was the ultimate walk of shame, praying that none of my clients were there. Lesson learned. I should have gone to the men's room, paid the bill with a large tip, and asked them to give her $40 for cab fare and tell her my Ebola was acting up. Oh, man. Yeah, I've met a few people in restaurants and meet and greets, and they were not dressed for the occasion. They looked like a street hooker, and it was very embarrassing as people were looking and trying to have a conversation with them. Her drinking those doubles kind of reminded me of my Las Vegas date that I've mentioned many times, where I flew this girl to Las Vegas, and she was good looking, sweet, great personality, until the double Tito's and soda started, and it was one after another, and it became a complete shit show. Oh, this poor guy. Can just imagine. I don't know why I'm laughing so hard, but actually, so here's one. The worst sugar dating story is with a potential I met a few weeks ago. I thought it was going okay, just not much chemistry, but he wanted to start the arrangement then and there and offered a pretty huge allowance. But I got a bad gut feeling, and I said I was going home and make sure I wanted to commit to this. I went home, Googled him, and he was in this hilarious news story about getting arrested for drug possession, and he slapped the officer and was like, "I'm the owner of blankety blank. How dare you'll pay for this?" Super comical, actually. Dodged that bullet. On an annoying note, went to dinner with a young potential sugar daddy at this crappy Chinese restaurant. I love cheap food, but not for a meet and greet. And then proceeded to order for me, and we actually split one entree. Again, I'm fine with this, but not for a meet and greet. Then said that most girls from SA were just content to date a guy with his shit together. Okay, dude, not me. Oh, yeah, that's a funny one. Let's see. Here's one from a sugar baby. I went on a meet and greet with a sugar daddy who said he met this nice girl, took her on 3 platonic dates, and then after the third one, she invited him back to her house. She'd brought her dog along on every date, but the third one, when they were driving back, they stopped to pull out cash, and she insisted he give her the cash before she walked into the apartment, claiming he would need to wait at the car, and she would come back with the dog to give the dog a bathroom break and walk him in. If they walked in together, the dog would go crazy and flip out, was her excuse. He felt super sketched out, but gave her half anyway since he wanted to see how it played out. She apparently had him park in a spot way to the back of an apartment lot, walked into the complex, and he said he saw her then run out the other side of the lot to a waiting car. Definitely made him a little smarter being burned like that. Didn't pursue anything with him, but his story still makes me chuckle. Think of how many dudes that poor dog's been dragged to meet and greets with. Let's see. Here's one from a sugar baby. She says, "I'm a kinkster and into BDSM, but I don't really bring this up when sugar dating because it's not that important to me. Then I started chatting with a guy through a national sugar platform called something something. He seemed acceptable by his profile pics. We talked a lot about many things, and it ended up that he was also into BDSM and liked the same kinks as me. Everything seemed perfect. Then our first meeting came up. You guys, he was very different from his photos in person, much older than it seemed and not acceptable at all. But I still gave him a chance since our previous talks went so well. He was wearing a very worn-out jacket, had only a $100 bill to pay for our meals, which caused some trouble because the waitress didn't have enough change and somehow thought it would be a good idea to hug me out of nowhere, which he did a lot of times. Before the end of our date, I was already very uncomfortable and wanted nothing more to do with that guy. To make it worse, we were caught in the middle of a very heavy storm, and when I mentioned that I didn't know how I was going home, he simply looked at me and asked if I didn't have Uber on my cell phone. I obviously do, but I told him I didn't, and he just shrugged and told me too bad. I was going to need to wait for the rain to stop. Luckily, my great-grandma lived nearby, so I just said him goodbye and ran to her apartment. I went on a small trip that weekend, and this fucking guy actually sent me over 100 messages. He made such a fuss when I told him it wasn't going to work. That happened about 2 years ago, and he still stalks me on social media and eventually sends me messages, which I gracefully ignore. Yeah, what an idiot. I don't know where he thinks he's going to get with after all that. I had one, going back to one of my stories, I met this girl at an Asian restaurant, and she wore a dress, but her boobs were enormous in this dress, which tied around her neck. It was very, her boobs were flowing out of the dress pretty well. Anyway, we go sit, and she's immediately rude to the waiter. Like, they were super busy, and he took our drink orders, rushed off, and she was really rude to him about rushing off because she had a question, and he was just going to go put them into the system. I didn't see a problem with it, but that started off the date very badly. Anyway, the conversation wasn't going very well, and I wasn't into her at all, but I was trying to make the best of it, so we were making small talk, and I said something in my joking way. It was mildly funny, and she started laughing at the top of her lungs, like literally laughing so loud at what I had said that the entire restaurant just like came to a stop, like you see in the movies, and everybody turns around and looks at us because she's laughing uncontrollably, and her boobs are pretty much falling out of her dress. It was not a very comfortable situation. I was so glad when that dinner was over. I lasted through the dinner. I didn't cut it short, but that was one and done. Thank you. Nice meeting you. See you never. Bye-bye. But, yeah, we've all had some crazy-ass stories. Here's a sugar daddy who says, met a girl for a meet and greet, and she turned out to be homeless, drunk off her ass and probably high. Lit up a cigarette in my brand new Porsche. Cut marks all over arms. Otherwise, have generally been good at weeding out the crazies. Well, you know what? You know what's great about dating a homeless girl is you can pretty much drop them off anywhere. You can just drop them off wherever you see fit. Anyway, we're going to end it with that. Hopefully you've found some chuckles in some of these stories. Now, I do recommend sugar dating. It has changed my life. It's changed many of the lives of people that I've met. I have the greatest friends from this lifestyle, but like Lily says, you got to kiss a lot of frogs to find that prince. And I just thought we'd end the year on kind of a funny note of some of the crazy, crazy sugar dating stories. All right, like I said, look for a new episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy every Tuesday. We've got a really special one releasing this Tuesday. It'll be the first one of the year, and I think you guys are going to I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a little deep. Lily had a hard time when she was editing it because it's a little sad also. But you know what? It's a part of life, and it's an experience that Alejandra had, and she was brave enough to share that with us. Oh, and Amy joins us for that episode. So we got a special appearance from my original co-host, Amy, because she's actually kind of an expert in BDSM and has actual training and has been a dom before in dungeons, and she knows how to do it correctly. I mean, it's a fetish, and it's something that people enjoy, but it needs to be done correctly. Also, too, become a VIP supporter of this show. It's only $10 a month. I mean, it's very, very cheap. And we are populating our Patreon, putting sneak peeks to upcoming episodes, photos of the party, things like that. We're going to keep putting lots of special things in there. So go to patreon.com/Secrets of a Sugar Daddy podcast and join and become a VIP member or a VIP supporter of the show. We really appreciate that. And finally, if you're not following us on Instagram, please go there, start following us. We always like to increase the followers because that helps get our status on Instagram, shows people that we are legitimate, and we post a lot of funny content there. I guess finally, we really appreciate a 5-star review. So whatever platform that you are listening to this on, please go and leave us a 5-star review along with a great review. And that will help also push our podcast to the top of the charts. Okay. Have a happy new year, everybody. And we'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed your Extra Sugar with Marcus. As always, visit our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com, to comment or tell us your story.